Now it's time for us to get together and enjoy the lovely words and phrases of the English language. With you every week live from 2 p.m. with lots of fun and all the words and phrases of the English language. Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat and together learn the words and phrases of the English language. Join together and have fun. Listen and laugh, it really can be done. Your learning journey has just begun. Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat and together learn the words and phrases of the English language. Join together and have fun. Join together and have fun.
We have the most amazing day. We have sunshine, we have flies. Yes, flies everywhere. I don't know why. We have a very pleasant day with 16 Celsius. Count all of those lovely degrees. It is feeling very nice today. Here we are again, live and direct from the birthplace of the English language. You know where it is. I know where it is. We all know where it is. Come on, Mr. Duncan, get on with it. Pull your finger out.
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat. Learn together and have fun.
We are having fun. Fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun. Because that is what it's all about. I always say learning should always be a fun experience, rather like anything in life when you think about it. It should all be fun. Everything we do should have some fun. Sometimes a little fun and sometimes lots of fun. Rather like this. We are back together again on the live stream and I have a lot to talk about today. First of all, I want to get one or two things out of the way. First of all, October is coming. And of course, if you are regular here on the live chat, you will know October for me is an important month. The reason why? Well, I will explain very quickly. The anniversary of my YouTube channel is coming up in October. Towards the end of October. How many years have I been doing this? On the 31st of October 2025 it will be 19 years. There are very few people on YouTube now who have been here since 2006. But guess what? I am one of those people. And yes, I was the first English teacher on YouTube. The first one. Here in England. The first ever English teacher on YouTube. I'm not joking. I wish I was. Because now I feel very, very old. Hello everyone. It's nice to see you here today. I hope you have one of these on your face. I hope you are smiling right now. It is all about fun. Of course, life is not always fun. There are things that might come along to make life less pleasant. So I am here to put a smile on your face, whatever is happening at the moment in your life. Whatever it is, I will try my best to make you smile today. So next month, October, which will arrive on Wednesday, so next Wednesday, it is the 1st of October. For me, a big month. I will be doing lots of special things during the month. New lessons, live streams, of course, will be coming up in October as well. As usual, I will be with you in October. So we have a lot of fun, and of course we will celebrate together on the actual anniversary, which is the 31st of October. I'm very much looking forward to that. We are talking about a lot of subjects today. We are talking about an interesting thing that happens in life. Many of us will do this every day. We will notice something. We will see something. We will be aware of a certain type of behaviour or an action or a moment of time that somehow seems familiar. Things that happen quite often, small things, they happen quite often. But the big difference here is those things happen to all of us at some point in time. So we are looking at observations, those strange things that happen to all of us from time to time. And we all share those little moments of time. Observations. Quite often we find observations funny. We can actually find humour in observations. So that is what we are looking at today. Also, we are looking at identity cards. It is a big topic at the moment here in England because the government here is thinking about introducing identity cards. It has been a big topic for many, many years. 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60 years ago, we were talking about having identity cards. And right now, at the moment, it is back in the news. However, this particular type of identity card is not analog, it is digital. It is something that you will create using what they call a biometric reading, rather like passports. So many passports these days have a special thing inside them that can be read very quickly. It is a digital identity. But here in the UK, they are now thinking of introducing digital identity cards. Controversial. It always is. Every time this particular topic comes along, it is always viewed as controversial. A lot of people don't like it, you see. They believe that if we have digital identity cards or any type of identity card, we feel as if part of our civil rights are being taken away. From my own point of view, I'm not all that worried about it, to be honest. I always say, if you have nothing to hide, if you've done nothing wrong, then you shouldn't be worried about it. I suppose it's very similar to having cameras all around in the streets and on the roads. There are CCTV cameras everywhere, and a lot of people feel the same way about those as well. They feel as if there is too much surveillance taking place around. But as I just said, if you have nothing to fear, if you've done nothing wrong, if you are a good person, if you are not a horrible person, then you have nothing to fear, to be honest. So that is one of the things we're talking about a little bit later on. Also, another thing I want to mention very quickly, this does actually concern me, because in October there is a big thing happening for all those of us, and maybe you, who uses Windows, the Windows operating system. And at the moment I am using Windows 10. However, in October the support for Windows 10 is being stopped. So the Windows update will no longer work on Windows 10. So many people now are being encouraged to update their computers and have Windows 11 instead. However, today I discovered something rather exciting. Apparently, you can extend the updates for one more year. So that is what I did this morning. So in your settings on your computer, you can actually get another 12 months of updates until October 2026. You have to do one or two things, but it is possible to extend the updates for another year, just in case you are not ready to buy a new computer. Because let's face it, computers are still very expensive things. I remember way back in the 1980s, computers were really expensive, maybe £4,000 or £5,000 for a very basic computer. Nowadays, of course, you can buy a computer for maybe £200 or £300. But that is still a lot of money when you think about it. So I'm rather pleased to find out that I can still have support on my Windows device for another 12 months. So there is no rush to actually run out and buy a new computer, which I have to say pleased me quite a lot. I will be honest with you. Can I say hello to the live chat? Hello, live chat. It's nice to see you here today. Who was first? Oh, no big surprise. Yes, Vitas, you are once more number one. Well done, Vitas. You are first on today's live chat. Super duper. Congratulations. Also, we have Flower as well. Hello, Flower. And Dumar. Hello, Dumar. Dumar Kisa, who says, hello, Mr. Duncan. I hope you have a nice day. Well, I am hoping to have a nice afternoon by going outside later on to enjoy some of this late summer sunshine. Also, we have Milad. We have Nicholas. Hello, Nicholas. Nice to see you here as well. JC is here. Hello, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. Well, as you can see, today it is only me. Just me. I hope you can stand it. Also, Suri is here as well. Hello, Suri. Suri Rahayu. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And we have, yes, he is here. The one, the only. You know who it is. I know who it is. Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. It is nice to see you here as well. Maria is here. Beatrice is here. Where are you today? Are you at home? Or are you up in the mountains? Where are you today, Beatrice? Please let me know. Who else is here today? We also have... Oh, very interesting. Oh, we have Rosa. Hello, Rosa. It's nice to see you back as well. We have Emmanuel as well. Thank you very much for joining me. MC is here. We also have Claudia. Hello, Claudia. Of course, I have a big question to ask you, Claudia. I think you know what that question is. In fact, I will ask the question right now.
What's cooking, Claudia? What have you got in your pot? What's cooking, Claudia? Is it something spicy and hot? Is it something salty or not? Oh, Claudia, what is in your pot?
That is the question. What is in your pot today, Claudia? Please let us know on the live chat. Because I like to find out these things, you see. I am so inquisitive. To be inquisitive, a person who always likes to find out what is happening. You can be inquisitive. You are often interested in what other people are doing. You want to know more. You are inquisitive. You want to find out what is going on. Hello, Hamza. Hello also to Patil Putra. Hello to you as well. Thank you very much for joining English Addict today. It is myself, Mr. Duncan. We are looking at strange observations in the world. Observations, things that are happening, things that happen to us every day, small things. And quite often we find these things amusing. They are quite funny. In fact, very often we will say, it's funny because it's true. Quite often we find these small moments of time to be amusing, funny, because we all experience them from time to time. It is very nice to have you here today. You know I love the English language very much, and I thought it would be interesting to take a look at a word that is negative. It is a negative word, but it is a type of behaviour that I think we are all capable of doing. It is something we can all do. It's not a good thing. It is a negative thing. The word I want to look at is spite. Mr. Duncan, that is a very powerful word. It is. It's a strong word. Spite. And it is a noun, often used in English to mean maliciousness involving the desire to harm another. We can also describe it as venomous ill will. To be mean, nasty, horrible towards another person. We often use spite. You might do something that is unkind to another person. I think sometimes as well a person might use spite as a form of revenge as well. If you want to return a bad deed to someone else, you might use spite as well. To make another person feel unhappy about an action, you will use spite towards them. To be unkind, to be maybe unfair in your actions. An instance of such malice, we can describe it as a grudge. Grudge. A person might use spite towards another person as a grudge. You have a grudge towards someone, and quite often you will use spite against that person. The instance of Malice. Malice. Now there is another interesting word. Malice means cruelty. You are being unkind towards an individual. You are using spite towards them. As a preposition, we can say that spite is in defiance of, regardless of, or notwithstanding. So a preposition, spite, is also the position of being in that situation, in defiance of something. You might do something in spite of another thing happening. And quite often we will use this in English conversation. So maybe if you are overcoming something, we can often say notwithstanding. You are overcoming that particular thing. A thing you can defend yourself against or overcome. You do it in spite of those problems. For example, here we have an interesting sentence. In spite of his disability, he was able to take part in the race. In spite of a particular thing. So even though you have difficulty, you will still overcome that difficulty. Spite can be used in many different ways as a noun or preposition. A person might be spiteful towards another. We often see children as being spiteful to each other. So quite often one child will be spiteful towards another because children can be like that. Have you noticed? I remember at school I was surrounded by spiteful people, spiteful classmates. Some of them are really horrible, not very nice people. So a spiteful person is a person who is being hateful towards another. To be spiteful. And in this situation, we are using the word spiteful as an adjective to describe the appearance of a person being hateful or malevolent. Ooh, another good word. When we describe a person as being malevolent, it means they are not very nice people. A person with a bad character. Maybe they are unkind, they are unfriendly towards another person. They cause harm to another person. I'm sure you've met someone in your life who you could describe as malevolent. So there is an interesting word. I like to look at words because, let's face it, that is the reason why we are here. To share our love of the English language. Saturino. Hello, Saturino. It is nice to see you here as well. Thank you very much. Can I say hello to Caro? Hello, Caro. Nice to see you here as well. I love Mr. Duncan, says Sri Rayayu. Really? Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say. I hope you will be joining me in October, because during the month of October we will be celebrating 19 years on YouTube teaching English as a second language. I know, it's true. I'm not joking. Controversial things. A subject now that might, for some people, be a little bit controversial. What do you think about identity cards? So maybe if you are walking along the street and perhaps a policeman or policewoman, a police officer comes up to you and they ask to see your identity. They want to know who you are. Not only that, but they also want you to prove who you are. Who are you? You have to show me some sort of identification. So when we talk about identity cards, we are actually talking about something that can be produced to prove that you are the person you say you are. And we often think of identity cards as existing in countries with very little freedom. However, that is not always the case. Identity is something that we all have. We have to sometimes prove that we are who we are. A very good example, of course, is the passport. If you want to travel to another country, you will need a passport. So you have to produce some sort of document that says, this is me, I am me, this is my name, and all of the details that connect you to that particular information. However, one of the interesting things about living here in the UK is we don't have identity cards. However, once again, there are different forms of identity that we carry around with us. So, for example, if you drive a car, you will have a driving license. So the driving license is a type of identity. It is showing who you are, but it is used for one particular reason, to show that you are able to drive a car. Legally, you are able to sit behind the wheel of a car. So that is the reason why quite often people become a little worried, upset, concerned whenever a government says we are thinking of bringing identity cards in. However, because we live in this amazing age of technology, you can now have digital identity. So this exists in another form, another way of storing your identity. Of course, we are talking about computers. You have something that will show who you are, something you might produce, perhaps on your phone, or maybe something you will carry with you with a special identity number. And then if you are stopped in the street, perhaps a police officer will scan your card, and then they will know who you are. All of the details. I suppose also there will be personal information as well about your address, your life, maybe if you've been in trouble with the police in the past, maybe if you have some sort of criminal past, that will also be on the information. So this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are fearful of identity cards. Hello Vitas. For some reason no one pays attention, so I would like to repeat it. A big hello from Tomek to all the regulars on the live chat. He always watches the live chat. Is that true? Wow. Actually, I think it might be Tom Rocks. I think that is actually Tomek. So if you are watching at the moment, hello Tomek, wherever you are at the moment and whatever you are doing. Back to the subject, identity cards. What about you in your country? Do you have identity cards? Do you have to carry something around with you to prove that you are who you say you are? So quite often, a person will have some type of identity on them. Now, I don't drive. You probably know this, but I don't drive. I don't drive a car. I don't have a car. I've never driven a car. So I don't have a full driving license. I don't have one at all. So I don't need to carry any identity with me because I don't drive a car. However, a person who does drive a car must have an identity card with them all the time. And now something has gone into my eye. There are lots of small flies buzzing around today, and I think a small fly has just gone into my eye. How annoying is that? Very annoying, in fact. So what do you think? Do you think having an identity card is a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe you live in a country where you have to have an identity card. I wonder. Very interesting. Maurizio. Hello, Maurizio. It is nice to see you here today. By the way, I don't think it will happen here. I don't think we will have identity cards here in the UK because a lot of people feel strongly against them. So my own feeling is that quite likely we won't have identity cards here in the UK. I don't think it is going to happen, to be honest. We will have a short break and then we are back with observations, interesting things that we notice every day, small things, strange things, and quite often we find those moments of time to be rather amusing. All of that coming up in a few moments from now. Keep it right here on English Addict.
I'm a big boy now.
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat and learn all the lovely words and phrases of the English language.
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat. Learn together and have fun.
We are having fun because it is Sunday. Every Sunday I am with you live from 2 p.m. UK time. It is nice to see you here, by the way. My name is Mr. Duncan, definitely. I am 99% sure that that is who I am. Yeah, yes, I'm just checking now. Yes, it says Mr. Duncan underneath. So I think it is Mr. Duncan. That's me, by the way. English Addict is with you, and we are now live. Can you believe it? Even now, I still find it amazing that I can stand in my little studio here in Much Wenlock and talk to the world on YouTube. It is amazing. Every day of our lives, we do things. We go around. We visit places, maybe we are at home doing something, maybe one of our daily chores, and then suddenly something happens. But this is no ordinary thing, this is something that happens quite often. Something that happens to you, me, and many people. We often call these observations. They are types of things that we all notice happening in our lives. But quite often they are small things. They are not serious things, but they are things that might be sometimes annoying or frustrating. So we are looking at the topic today of observations, things that you see, things that you notice. Things that we might describe as being amusing, leading us to say, it's funny because it's true. Things that happen, small things. And I'm sure today, when I give you some examples, you will feel the same way as me. You will say, Mr. Duncan, you are right. The thing you are describing is the same thing that sometimes happens to me as well. They are occurrences that come along quite often, and we all recognise them when they occur. There are moments in life that seem familiar to all of us, moments of time that happen, small things. We often describe them as moments or occurrences. Something occurs. It happens. There are moments in life that seem familiar to all of us. They are small moments that come and go, but they occur often. They often happen. They come along frequently. Sometimes we will comment on these occurrences, things that you notice. It might be a small thing. For example, I suppose I will give an example now because there are many things that happen. So, for example, whenever I wash my clothes and I want to put them back into the wardrobe, I can never find coat hangers or clothes hangers to put my clothes on. There never seems to be enough of them. Why? Why is that? So that is an example of something that you notice happening. But generally speaking, you don't talk about it with other people. It is just a small observation. So that is what we are talking about today when we talk about observations, small moments of time that we find strange and amusing. They are commonly referred to as observations. So the word that I've already used, observations, things that you notice, things that you see, the actual action taking place. You notice it. It is an observation, something you've seen happening. And these are things that happen quite often in life. To observe is to look or take notice. Observe is the verb. To observe is to watch. So quite often when you see something happening, you don't just see it with your eyes, you also think about it up here in your brain. So it is usual, it is normal for us all to do this. Things that happen around us. To observe. Maybe you are looking out of your window and you notice something in the distance, something unusual. You observe that thing. It is an observation. We often observe and remember what we saw. So that is what an observation is. An observation is a moment of time that you have seen and, quite often, you remember. And sometimes you think about as well afterwards. It is not unusual. People might talk about those moments. They might discuss those moments of time. Observational comment. People will talk about those little moments of time. Maybe you talk generally about what you did yesterday. And during that conversation you might mention an observation, something you've noticed. Have you ever noticed? That is normally how you start the conversation. Have you ever noticed? Have you noticed? The moments can be funny because they happen often to many people. Something familiar can bring people together. Something that we all experience, or maybe something we enjoy. If you share that with other people, it can actually bring you closer together. So I think sometimes observations are interesting because they bring people together. Something we can all agree on. And let's face it, these days it is very hard to agree on things for various reasons. So the moments can be funny because they happen often to many people. It is a small but common occurrence. A familiar thing is shared between people. Have you ever noticed something that we can all relate to? To relate to something is to understand its significance, how important that thing actually is. And we have some examples now. I know you've been waiting for this. Mr. Duncan, please give us some examples. So here is an interesting example. This is something that happens to a lot of people. It is an observation. For example, you are waiting for a bus. You've been waiting for a very long time. Almost an hour. You've been standing at the bus stop, waiting patiently for a bus. But no bus came along. Nothing arrived. You've been waiting and still no bus. But of course, you know, sometimes things happen. You are waiting for a long time. You are waiting for one bus to come. And then, of course, what happens next? 3 come along at the same time. It is a small moment of time that we all observe. And I'm sure we've all had this situation in our own lives. Something you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for a long time for one thing. And then when it does arrive, it isn't just one thing that comes, it is lots of things. So you might be waiting for one bus to arrive, but when it does, 3 buses come at the same time. It is a social observation. Something you notice happening is an observation. Here's another one. In a moment. A person might say that it is a funny observation because it is true. Things that happen quite often bring people together. Things we are all familiar with. They are all types of occurrences, quite often small moments of time, but we can all relate to those things. They are relatable. You might say it's funny because it's true. You find it amusing because you know that that thing happens not only to yourself but to other people as well. We all know that these things happen. It's funny because it's true. A shared observation creates a moment of humour and fun. So quite often a moment of time can create humour, fun, something you are sharing together. I always say that sharing an experience with another person is a wonderful thing, whatever it is, as long as it's a good thing, of course. If it's a bad thing, then maybe it's not a good idea to share it. But if you are sharing something nice, a funny moment, a moment of time that you find joyous, then it can bring you closer together. A shared observation creates a moment of humour and fun. Here is another example now. I am sure all of you have had this particular moment happen. I would imagine. Here it is. Oh, yes. I know, you know, we've all had this happen. Plugging in a USB cable. It is a small moment of time that occurs, but there is one interesting observation that comes from that particular action. It never goes in the first time. When you try to put a USB cable in to your computer or mobile device, it never goes in the first time. You always get it wrong. I don't think in my whole life I have ever put a USB cable in the correct way first time. Does it happen to you? It happens to me. It happens to many people. And it is funny because it's true. It does happen quite often. However, in this situation, it is very unusual because you have to try 3 times before it goes in. Quite often, you have to try 3 times. Not twice, not once, but 3 times. In other words, quite often you will put the USB plug in the right way, but you think it's the wrong way. And then you turn it round and it still doesn't go in. So you turn it back to where it was, and then it goes in. So quite often it takes 3 attempts before the USB plug goes in. Isn't it strange? It's funny Because it's true, and it is something we can all relate to. This is an observation. Something you see, something you notice that happens. It is a type of observation. Here is another example. There are never any teaspoons when you need one. You go into the kitchen, you make a cup of tea, you put the kettle on, and you're all excited because you know in a moment you are going to have a cup of tea. But then you realise there are no teaspoons. Where do they go to? You can never find a teaspoon when you want one. Why? Where do they go to? They all seem to vanish. Quite often they are all in the dishwasher. Or maybe they are just lying in the sink, waiting to be washed. But it is true. Quite often you can never find a teaspoon when you want one. Even if you have lots and lots of them, you can never find one when you want one. The other thing, of course, is a pair of scissors, like these here. Whenever you want a pair of scissors, you can never find them. You can never find them. They seem to vanish completely. Another thing, of course, is a pen. Quite often, when you need a pen, you can't find one. Even if you have thousands and thousands of pens in your house, you only want one. I only want one pen and I can't find it. No pens. Where are they? They seem to just vanish into thin air. But why? Why does it happen? It is an observation of life. Here's another example. There is always a sock missing when you take the washing out of the machine. There is always one sock that is missing. Or, of course, you might just find one sock in the washing machine. You find one sock, but there isn't another one. Where is the other sock? It vanishes. It disappears. Why? How? What is going on? It is an observation. It is something that quite often happens. And I have no idea why it happens. Here's another one. It's funny because it's true. You always choose the shopping cart with the broken wheel. Why? You go into the supermarket and there are hundreds of shopping carts. And you take one and you go and you go. And suddenly, the shopping cart is going all over the place. You can't control it. You are crashing into people. You are knocking over all of the displays. The shopping trolley has a broken wheel. And for some reason, you are always able to choose that one cart. But how? How does it happen? Why does it happen? It is another one of those strange observations in life. All those examples are common occurrences that we all experience in our daily lives. They are small moments of time. They are things that are small, insignificant. However, they are common. They are things that happen. And sometimes they happen without any explanation. We actually don't know why they happen, but they just do. So my examples: the missing sock, 3 buses that come together when you've been waiting for an hour. You can never find a pen when you want one. Why? Why does that happen? Life is very strange sometimes. So all of those examples are occurrences, and when you talk about them, we can say that they are observations. You are noticing those things. Certain types of humour or comedy is used to point out these moments. So quite often you will use humour, comedy, to highlight those strange moments of time. Have you ever noticed, is normally how the sentence will start. Have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed that you can never find teaspoons when you need one? Have you noticed that? I'm sure you have at some point. Sometimes these observations reveal how ludicrous things can be in everyday life. So again, we are using an interesting word there. The word is ludicrous. Something ludicrous is absurd, ridiculous, ludicrous. Something you can't work out or understand. It makes no sense. That thing is ludicrous. It is unbelievable. I can't believe it. So quite often comedians will use observations as a way of making people laugh. I suppose the one a lot of people think of is peanuts on a plane. Why do they serve peanuts on an aeroplane? And normally the bag of peanuts is very small. It's not enough to feed you. It's not a meal. It doesn't feel like anything. So when we think about things that we notice in life, we observe those things, we talk about them, and quite often we will highlight the reason why they are quite often absurd, ridiculous. They make no sense. I'm sure we've all been in that situation where you've been sitting on an aeroplane and you're waiting for something to eat. And when the person comes around serving you food, all they give you is a small bag of peanuts. And quite often you can't open the peanuts. They're very hard to open. And sometimes when you do open them, the peanuts go everywhere. It's an observation. A very common observation, some might say. So what about you? Have you noticed things that happen quite often in your life? Moments of time, small moments of time. Thank you very much for your company today. It's very nice to see so many people here. Francesco says, whenever I drop a sandwich on the floor, it always lands with the butter down, butter side down. I've dropped things on the floor many times, especially food. I don't know about you, but I always have a little cry. If I ever drop food on the floor, I always have a little cry because it's very upsetting, especially if you're hungry. It can be very upsetting. So that is another good one. Yes, you are right. If you drop a piece of bread with butter on it, it always falls on the butter. And then the meal is ruined. It is spoilt. Thank you very much for your lovely messages today. I will look at the messages later because I know there are many people chatting at the moment. So I will have a look at the messages later on. Don't forget you can also watch this live stream again. There is lots of information for you to study and learn. Next week there will be some new lessons. I will be live next Sunday as well. Don't forget, every Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time is when I'm back with you. That is when I'm with you. So if you are wondering when I'm back, I will put it on the screen so we all know. I'm back with you next Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time, and now there is no mistake. Thank you very much for your company today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been nice. I've enjoyed my time here with you, and I hope you have enjoyed it in the same way. Thank you very much for your company. It's been lovely sharing some time with you today, and I hope to see you very soon right here on the live chat. And on Wednesday, October begins as we build up towards the anniversary of my YouTube channel coming into existence. Thank you very much. See you later. Thank you very much for all of your lovely messages. I always enjoy my time with you. Needless to say, I always will. See you later. Take care of yourselves. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Keep that smile upon your face as you walk amongst the human race. And yes, I'm going to say it. Goodbye, farewell, adios, sayonara, zaijian. Ta-ta for now.